The wooden paintbrush snapped in Leo's hand with a loud crack. Red and yellow paint splattered across his cheeks, but he did not care. He stared at the giant white canvas in front of him and felt a hot tear roll down his face. "It is not right," he whispered to himself. "It is still not right." Leo was 12 years old, and he loved to paint more than anything else in the whole world. He lived in a small, quiet village surrounded by tall, green mountains. In Leo's room, there were hundreds of paintings, but if you looked closely at his art, you would notice something very strange. Leo only used happy colors. His pots of paint were filled with bright yellow, sky blue, happy pink, and warm orange. He never used black. He never used gray. He never even used dark brown. Leo believed that the world should only be happy. When he was a little boy, his grandfather had passed away, and Leo remembered how much the sadness hurt his heart. From that day on, he made a promise to himself. He would never look at the dark side of life again. He would only paint sunshine. Tomorrow was the day of the great village art contest. The winner would get a golden medal and the title of Master Painter. Leo wanted to win so badly. He had been standing in his room for 5 hours trying to paint a picture of a summer garden. He painted yellow suns, pink flowers, and bright green grass. But as he looked at the painting, it looked flat. It looked boring. The flowers did not look real. The sun did not look bright. It just looked like a giant splash of colors that hurt his eyes. His mother opened the door. She held a warm cup of milk in her hands. She saw the broken paintbrush on the floor and sighed softly. "Leo, my sweet boy, why are you so angry? Painting should make you happy." "I'm trying, Mother," said Leo, crossing his arms. "I am using the brightest, happiest colors, but the painting has no magic. It looks empty." His mother gently placed the milk on the table. She looked at his painting for a long time. "Maybe, Leo, a garden is not just made of sunshine," she said quietly. Before he could ask her what she meant, she kissed his forehead and left the room. The next morning, Leo woke up early. He felt very frustrated. He needed to find out what was wrong with his painting. He took his coat and walked down to the village square to clear his head. The air was cool, and the morning mist was still touching the roofs of the houses. In the middle of the square, he saw an old man. It was Master Elias. Master Elias was the oldest and greatest painter in the village. He wore a dirty coat covered in dry paint. He was standing in front of an easel painting the early morning market. Leo quietly walked up behind him and gasped. Master Elias was not painting a bright, happy morning. He was using gray for the shadows of the buildings. He was using deep, dark purple for the corners of the street. He was using black to paint the tired faces of the farmers carrying heavy bags. "Excuse me, Master Elias," said Leo, his voice shaking a little. "Why are you using such sad colors? The morning is beautiful. You are ruining it with all that dark paint." The old man stopped moving his brush. He turned around slowly. He had kind, wrinkled eyes. He smiled at Leo. "Ah, little Leo," said the old man, his voice deep and raspy. "You think these colors are sad? You think they ruin the morning?" "Yes," said Leo. "I never use black or gray. I only use bright colors. But my paintings do not look real. Yours look like I can walk right into them. Why?" Master Elias pointed his wooden brush at the sun rising in the sky. Then he pointed to the dark shadow of a tree on the ground. "Leo, tell me," asked the old man, "how do you know the sun is bright?" "Because it hurts my eyes, because it makes everything yellow." "No," said Master Elias softly. "You know the light is bright because you can see the dark shadow next to it. If the whole world was bright, you would not be able to see anything at all. It would just be a blinding white wall. To make the light look beautiful on your canvas, you must be brave enough to paint the dark." Leo shook his head. "But the dark means sadness. The dark means fear. I don't want sadness in my paintings."
"A painting without sadness is a painting without truth," replied Master Elias. "Life is not just one summer day. Life is a mix of rain and sun, crying and laughing. Your paintings are flat because they are lying. Go home, Leo. Paint the truth."
Leo ran back home. He was angry. He did not want to believe the old man. He did not want to paint sadness. When he reached his room, he looked out the window. The bright morning was gone. Big, heavy, dark clouds were rolling over the green mountains. The wind started to blow hard. The leaves on the trees shook. It was going to be a huge storm. Leo hated storms. They were loud and scary. He hid under his blanket. Suddenly, a massive sound shook the house. Boom! Thunder rolled across the sky. Leo peeked out from his blanket and looked at his window. The sky was entirely black and deep purple. But then something amazing happened. A bright flash of silver lightning cracked across the dark sky. It lit up the whole village for just 1 second. Leo's eyes grew wide. He crawled out of his bed and walked to the window. The lightning was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. It was so sharp, so bright, so powerful. And then he realized something. He remembered what Master Elias had said. The lightning only looked so bright and beautiful because the sky behind it was so dark. If the sky was bright blue, you would barely see the lightning. The darkness was pushing the light forward. For the first time in his life, Leo saw the beauty in the dark. He watched the heavy gray rain fall. He listened to the sad, howling wind. It was not happy, but it was powerful, and it was real. Leo ran to his paint box. He opened the bottom drawer. There, covered in dust, were the tubes of paint he had never opened. Deep black, stormy gray, midnight blue, dark brown. He took a deep breath. His hands were shaking. He felt a little scared, but he knew what he had to do. He pulled out a brand new, empty white canvas. He squeezed a large drop of black paint onto his wooden palette. It looked like a drop of night. Next to it, he squeezed his brightest yellow and pure white. Right in the middle of the dark, sad storm, he painted a glowing, warm sun breaking through the clouds. He painted a small, brave bird flying through the heavy rain toward the light. Because the clouds were so dark and black, the yellow sun looked like it was actually glowing on the canvas. The light looked like magic. The painting was no longer flat. It was deep. It was full of emotion. It looked alive. Leo painted for hours. He forgot to eat. He forgot to drink water. He just painted the sadness and the joy, mixing them together perfectly. The afternoon arrived, and it was time for the Great Village Art Contest. The village square was filled with people. There were red flags flying everywhere. Musicians played happy songs. The smell of roasted nuts and sweet bread filled the air. At the end of the square stood the king. He wore a heavy red cape with gold around the edges. He was walking past all the paintings, looking at them carefully. Leo stood nervously next to his painting, which was covered by a white cloth. He looked at the other children's paintings. They were all very pretty. They were full of flowers, puppies, and sunny days, but they all looked exactly like the paintings Leo used to do. They were just nice. Finally, the king stopped in front of Leo. "Show me your work, young man," the king said with a loud, powerful voice. Leo's hands trembled. He grabbed the white cloth and pulled it down. The crowd of people behind the king went completely silent. No one spoke. No one laughed. The king stepped forward. His eyes were locked on Leo's canvas. He looked at the deep, terrifying black clouds. He looked at the cold, gray rain. And then he looked at the warm, glowing yellow light breaking through the center, shining on the brave little bird. The king took a deep breath. "This," the king whispered, "this makes me feel something in my heart." The king turned to Leo. "Most children only want to show me a happy dream. You have shown me a real battle. You have shown me that even in the darkest, saddest times, there is always a bright light of hope.
This is not just a painting, this is life." The king smiled warmly and placed a heavy golden medal around Leo's neck. The crowd began to clap loudly. They cheered for Leo. Even Master Elias was in the crowd, smiling and nodding his head. Leo walked home that evening. The sun was setting, painting the sky with colors of purple, pink, dark blue, and bright orange. He touched the golden medal on his chest, but it was not the medal that made him the happiest. The happiest feeling was knowing he did not have to run away from sadness anymore. He learned that dark colors were not his enemy. Black, gray, and dark blue were just tools to help the bright yellow, pink, and white shine even brighter. From that day on, Leo became the greatest painter in the land. He never painted a flat, boring picture again. He painted tears, he painted smiles, he painted thunderstorms, and he painted rainbows, because he finally understood that without the dark, the light has no meaning. Life is exactly like a painting. We all want our lives to be full of happy, bright colors, joy, laughter, and success. We often want to avoid the dark colors like sadness, failure, and pain. But this story teaches us that you cannot have a complete, beautiful life without experiencing both. The dark and sad moments in our lives are what make the happy and bright moments so special and meaningful. Sadness teaches us to appreciate joy. Accept all your feelings, both good and bad, because together they create the beautiful masterpiece of your life.